Good evening and welcome to Election Night 2024, where incumbent President Joe Biden will be taking on current Governor of Florida, Ron Desantis, in what should be an historic and interesting election. It is now 7 p.m. Eastern, which means the first polls have closed in the states of Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vermont, and Virginia. In Georgia, it's currently too close to call, with Desantis leading by 91,069 votes. That is too close to call, 41% of the vote in. That's 16 electoral votes. In Indiana, 11 electoral votes. It's going to Ron DeSantis. In Kentucky, 8 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In South Carolina, 9 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In Vermont, 3 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. And lastly, in the state of Virginia, 13 electoral votes also going to Joe Biden. That means that President Biden now has 16 electoral votes and Governor DeSantis has 28 electoral votes. It is now 7:30 p.m. on the East Coast, and we have poll closings in North Carolina, Ohio, and West Virginia. In North Carolina, it's too close to call, with 33% of the vote in. Ron DeSantis leads by 25,147 votes. And in the state of Ohio, it's too close to call, with 35% of the vote in. Joe Biden leads by 232,777 votes. And lastly, in West Virginia, with 4 electoral votes, we can now project that will be going to Governor DeSantis. This now puts President Biden at 16 electoral votes and Governor DeSantis at 32 electoral votes. 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and we have poll closings in the states of Alabama, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Florida, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Mississippi, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Jersey, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Tennessee. In Alabama, 8 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In Connecticut, 7 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. In Delaware, 3 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. Of course, Joe Biden is a senator there, or was a senator there, I should say. In the District of Columbia, 3 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. In Florida, with 29% of the vote in, it's too close to call. Ron DeSantis leads by 12,720 votes. He is the current governor there. In the state of Illinois, 19 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. In Maine, 4 electoral votes. Usually they split their electoral votes, but this year all 4 of them are going to Joe Biden. In Maryland, 10 electoral votes are going to Joe Biden. In Massachusetts, 11 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. In Mississippi, 6 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In Missouri, 10 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In New Hampshire, with 38% of the vote in, Joe Biden leads by 52,301 votes, with 38% of the vote in. In New Jersey, 14 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. In Oklahoma, 7 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In Pennsylvania, 19 electoral votes with 32% of the vote in. Joe Biden leads by 50,329 votes. In the state of Rhode Island, 3 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. And lastly, in Tennessee, 11 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. 30 p.m. Eastern, and we have poll closings in Arkansas, and 6 electoral votes are going to Governor DeSantis. After those poll closings, President Biden now has 90 electoral votes, and Governor DeSantis now has 80 electoral votes. 270 is needed to win. It is now 9 p.m. on the East Coast, and we have poll closings in the states of Arizona, Colorado, Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, New York, North Dakota, South Dakota, Texas, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. In Arizona, with 12 electoral votes, is currently too close to call, with 34% of the vote in. DeSantis leads by about 102,000 votes there. In Colorado, with 31% of the vote in, it's too close to call. We know that Joe Biden leads by about 127,000 votes. In Kansas, 6 electoral votes. We can now project for Ron DeSantis. In Louisiana, 8 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In Michigan, it's currently too close to call, with 36% of the vote in. Joe Biden leads by 4,000 votes. It's very close there. In Minnesota, with 27% of the vote in, Joe Biden leads by about 25,000 votes. In Nebraska, if they split their electoral votes, so the Nebraska Popular, 2 electoral votes, that's going to be going to Ron DeSantis. In Nebraska Congressional District 1, 1 electoral vote going to Ron DeSantis. In Nebraska Congressional District 2, that should say 1 electoral vote. That's going to Joe Biden. That's the Omaha area. Nebraska Congressional District 3, 1 electoral vote going to Ron DeSantis. In New Mexico, 5 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. In New York, 28 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. In North Dakota, 3 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In South Dakota, another 3 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In Texas, it's currently too close to call with 25% of the vote in. We know DeSantis leads by about 11,000 votes. That's a key race we're going to be watching. In Wisconsin, with 20% of the vote in, we know that Joe Biden leads by about 17,000 votes. And in the state of Wyoming, 3 electoral votes we can now project for Ron DeSantis. This now means that the president leads the governor 124 to 104. We can now make an official projection. In the state of New Hampshire, and its 4 electoral votes are going to be going to Joe Biden. At 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and we poll closings in Iowa, Montana, Nevada, and Utah. In Iowa, it's too close to call with 22% of the vote in. Joe Biden has a lead there. In the state of Montana, 3 electoral votes, it's going to be going to Ron DeSantis. In Nevada, 6 electoral votes with 43% of the vote in. Joe Biden also has a lead there by about 40,000 votes. And lastly, in Utah, 6 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. Here's the current electoral vote count. The president has 128 electoral votes, and the governor has 117 electoral votes. We can now make an official projection. In the state of Colorado, 10 electoral votes, we can now project they will be going to Joe Biden. And in the state of Minnesota, 9 electoral votes, we can also project will be going to Joe Biden. We can also now project that Ron DeSantis will win his home state of Florida, and it's 31 electoral votes. O'clock on the East Coast, and we poll closings in California, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. In California, 55 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. In Idaho, 4 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In Oregon, 8 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. And lastly, in Washington, 12 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. This now means that the president has 221 electoral votes and the governor has 152 electoral votes. We now make an official projection. In the state of North Carolina, 16 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. In the state of Nevada, 6 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. And in the state of Ohio, 17 electoral votes going to Joe Biden. This is a flip from 2020 in the first of the night. Now a new day here on the East Coast, and we have poll closings in just the state of Hawaii. And in the state of Hawaii, 4 electoral votes going to the president. Here's the current electoral vote map. The president is 248, and the governor is 168. Key race lore in some swing states. In Georgia, with 16 electoral votes, 72% of the vote in, Joe Biden leads by about 3,000 votes there. It is very close there. We anticipated it to be close. In Pennsylvania, with 79% of the vote in, that's 19 electoral votes, Joe Biden leads by about 37,000 votes, another very close race. In Arizona, 12 electoral votes with 83% of the vote in. Too close to call. DeSantis leads by 60,000 votes. In Michigan, 15 electoral votes with 70% of the vote in. DeSantis leads by about 26,000 votes. That's another very close race. In Texas, huge prize, 41 electoral votes. DeSantis leads by only 16,000 votes. Very close. In Wisconsin, 10 electoral votes with 68% of the vote in. Joe Biden DeSantis leads by about 11,000 votes. That's another race. And then in Iowa, 6 electoral votes. Joe Biden leads by about 11,000 votes there. We now have an official projection in 2 states. In the state of Pennsylvania, 19 electoral votes we can now project will be going to president. This is a hold from 2020 and a very crucial state that Joe Biden has just won. And in Arizona, 12 electoral votes, we can now project that Ron DeSantis will flip it and become the first flip of the night for DeSantis. It is now 1 a.m. on the East Coast, and we have poll closings in just the state of Alaska. And in Alaska, 3 electoral votes going to Governor DeSantis. I'll have an official projection. In the state of Michigan, 15 electoral votes, we can now project that will be going for Joe Biden. This means that we can now project that Joe Biden will be re-elected as the 46th President of the United States, and Kamala Harris will be re-elected as the 49th Vice President of the United States. We can now make 2 more official projections. In the state of Iowa, 6 electoral votes we can now project that will be going to Joe Biden. That is a flip from 2020. And the state of Texas, 41 electoral votes going to Ron DeSantis. Democrats hope they could win there, but they are not getting it. This means that Joe Biden now has 288 electoral votes and Ron DeSantis has 224 electoral votes. Now make an official projection in the last 2 states. In Wisconsin, 10 electoral votes we can now project they will be going to Joe Biden. And in Georgia, 16 electoral votes, we can now project those will also be going to Joe Biden, 2 holds from 2020. Joe Biden finishes it off with 314 electoral votes, and the governor finishes off with 224 electoral votes. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. It makes my day if you do.